Hello. So, we're going to talk a little bit about me. Who am I and why am I here? So, my name is Keslie. I have three daughters who are 12, 13, and 15. I've been married to my husband for 19 years. We have 11 animals, go figure, two dogs, two cats, three chickens, two rats, a hamster, and a snake. So, we are very, very busy most of the time. And my journey really started in chronic pain. When I was pregnant with my first daughter, is when the pain started. So I have double scoliosis, which has resulted in degenerative disc disease, as well as multiple bulging discs and herniated discs throughout my spine. So I have experienced back pain, but when I got pregnant, it really got worse. And after I'd had my third child in 3 years, I was in constant pain from the waist down. It was really excruciating. I was on a cocktail of muscle relaxers, pain pills, and nerve medication to stop the pain from radiating down both legs from sciatic pain. It was torturous. And we moved to California in 2010. By 2011, I had run out of all my backup pain pills, and I was trying to find a doctor in the area that could get me more medication, and nobody would give me more medication. They all said that my injuries, my spine did not require pain medication, despite the fact that I was in horrible pain. So I ended up, excuse one of the kitties, I ended up taking myself into therapy more than anything. And I decided I needed to deal with the cognitive side. I needed to deal with the emotional state that I was in, because I was told by the chiropractors and doctors that I was to learn to live with the pain, that I should get over the idea that it would ever go away, and I should just learn to live with it. And so their idea was, let's manage your emotions. Let's get you to a place where you're okay being in pain, which now sounds absurd to me. Anyway, I did. And what happened was greater than anything I experienced before and could have imagined. So it was actually through healing that I learned about the mind body connection. And I began researching it a little bit as I learned that our emotions can cause some physical stuff. So there I was one day in Costco, which was my biggest nemesis. I could not leave because the cart was so heavy, or so I thought. The cart was so heavy that I could not get out of the building to my car without being in tears. Literally in tears every time I left Costco at the pain of pushing that heavy cart. So there I was, beginning my shopping day, putting items into the cart, and the pain began. But I remembered that day that I had heard something about finances and low back pain. And so I just decided to grab my phone in the middle of Costco and check my bank account. And when I confirmed what I already knew, which was there was plenty of money in the bank account to cover the items in the cart, my pain diminished by 60% that day. I left Costco for the first time in 4 years, not in pain, all because I had checked my bank account. It blew my mind, and I knew that there was something in it and I needed to dig deeper. Hence the investigative brain, which I did. I dove into the mind body connection as deeply as I could go. And what I found was more than just the back pain, but the leg pain and all other pain that I had ever experienced, including the scoliosis, degenerative disc disease, and the herniated and bulging discs, all had emotional connections that I was struggling with. I did not believe I could take care of three children. I didn't feel enough. That and the fact that I was doing it was literally forcing me to feel pain. I was preventing myself from feeling okay because I didn't believe I could carry it. I didn't believe I could handle it. I was also carrying really negative money experiences and financial problems that were not mine. My parents had shared their financial struggles growing up with me, and I was still carrying them. It didn't have anything to do with my bank account. I thought I was shopping with my mother's bank account. So when I cleared these things up and realized that my emotions were causing the pain, not the other way around, I found myself in a place that was not pain driven. I found myself feeling great. My body was starting to come around. I barely felt pain anymore. I was doing positive. I was able to exercise. Things were great. I had my first Halloween where I could walk with my kids without either being intoxicated for the pain or missing out because I couldn't do trick-or-treating. And I got to trick-or-treat with them. It was amazing. And I knew that there had to be more. So I continued on that journey. And then my dad died. As I was healing and my father died, what I did not realize was how much that was going to bring up a lot of the past that I had ignored. Painful, painful parts of my past that I thought were long gone were not long gone. About 6 months in 2014, my dad died. And about 6 months after that, I ended up in a major depression. Now, it wasn't just my dad's death that led me to that. We had also, in the 3 years before that, lost my husband's grandfather, then our 18-year-old cat, then his dad, and then his stepdad, all 3 consecutive years. It was brutal. And I was taking all of it on. It's what I do. I was codependent and carrying everything. So when my dad died, I took the grief of all of those deaths and I expressed them. It was horrible. I was as close to dying as I've ever been. I was not eating. It was a self-starvation, subconscious. It was not by choice. I was so sick, I couldn't eat, and I was withering away. I was almost 5'9", and I weighed a whopping 13 pounds when I finally hit bottom. It was horrible. I was desperately looking for ways to feel human again and to not want to die. If I did not have kids, I don't know where I would be today. But they kept me alive and kept me going. And then I found Reiki. And when I found Reiki, my life turned around and faced a direction I didn't even know was possible. From there, I began to really go deeper into all of these modalities. My Reiki instructor actually was taking a hypnotherapy class, and I had had some hypnotherapy done. And the hypnotherapy that I had done was life-changing. It had gone leaps and bounds for my healing. And so I knew how valuable it was. At the time, I was interested in low cost. We were not, I had money, but I was still struggling with a lot of my money worries. So I didn't feel worth spending much on myself. So my way around it was my Reiki instructor, excuse me, sent an email out saying, does anyone want to be my guinea pig? I'm going to take this class. And I said yes, but at the very bottom of the email, it said there was one spot left. It was too good to be true. It was too perfect to get all of this time with hypnotherapy. I thought, I'll just take the training, right? It's a great way for me to experience 26 weeks of hypnotherapy, this ongoing 6-month training. It's going to be amazing. So I jumped in. About halfway through, I realized it was my calling. I realized that the way that I could help people and the experiences and the healing that could happen was just too amazing to ignore. So I got my certification. I then later went back and became a hypnotherapy instructor because it was so powerful and has changed my life and lives of my clients so much. So now I can actually teach other people and certify other people to be hypnotherapists. From there, it has really just been an uphill climb. A few years after getting all of that situated, I learned about complex trauma. And this was really after seeing this therapist/coach for about 2 years. And honestly, having her not help me. She was helping me, but there was a whole aspect that I just could not grab. I was still reactionary. I was still triggered by everything. And I seemed to still be screaming and losing my temper at least once a day. It was horrible. So it was through talking with her and actually her lack of ability and her starting to just get really frustrated with me that I had to reinvent that wheel. I had to find out what the heck was happening to me and why could this trauma trained therapist not help me? So I began doing the research myself by going into the classes that therapists go to. I decided that if I was going to understand my trauma, I had to understand trauma. So I dove in and began taking classes where I'm sitting next to therapists to get this education that I knew would help me. As you'll see the theme, I did not get here because I wanted to help people. I'm here because I helped myself. And through helping myself, I realized that I had a gift that I had to share with people. People deserve to have experiences like I've had, and I get to share that with them now. So, as I learned, when I learned this is complex trauma and what complex trauma meant, I went to my therapist and I explained it to her. I said, guess what I found out about? I learned about complex trauma. It is complex PTSD, and I believe I have it. Can we talk about it? Her answer to me was a blessing in disguise. What she said was, Keslie, you don't have flashbacks. Therefore, you do not have PTSD. I need you to stop trying to find reasons that you can't control the way you behave. You're making it worse by continuing to try to find reasons that you can't heal. I did not stay on with her much longer because I realized she didn't understand what complex trauma was, and she was unable to hear me tell her. And what I was learning was if the therapist can't pivot and turn for their client, they can't help their client. So I stopped seeing her. She was not able to help me, but I was now able to help myself. I had found the missing piece of the puzzle to get myself to a place where I don't have to be angry every day. I don't have to freak out. I don't have to lash out. I can still be heard without fighting, which for my 14-year-old self was a huge relief because I have been fighting to be heard my whole life. So, I'm not sure how to end my little introduction, but I just wanted you guys to understand where I'm coming from. So, I am a healer. A healer I actually knew as a little kid, asked me what I want to be. I was going to be a doctor. Very different. I am a healer now, but not a doctor. And I'm just super thrilled to finally be taking what I have been working on and doing with clients one-on-one and bring it into this group for you. So you are going to get a crash course in all of my experience. We're going to start with understanding trauma a little bit backward, and then we're going to go into the mind-body connection, and we're going to look at all the modalities and all the techniques and tools that I not only have used for me, but I now use with my clients, and I get to teach them to you. So I am so excited to get started. But first, I want to get to know you. And I also want others to get to know you, and I want you to have a chance to get to know the other people in the group. Since this group is not linear, meaning we're not all starting at one time, everybody can come in whenever they want. This is what I came up with as the best way to create connection and to get to know one another a little bit before jumping onto a call. So you have instructions below to introduce yourself, excuse me, not below, in the next segment. So check that out. Post your story or your video about who you are so we can remain connected and get to know you before we hop on the call and get into the really sensitive stuff. Thanks so much. I look forward to seeing you there. Bye.